Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're tuning in because today we're doing something pretty fascinating. We're looking at optimization, but we're not just staying in one narrow lane. We are taking a truly holistic approach to optimizing every single metric of your life as one giant interconnected system. We're talking everything from the literal biological engine that gets you out of bed in the morning all the way to the digital footprints you leave behind online.
Let's kick things off with a massive fundamental question. What does it actually take to be healthy? We throw that word around a lot, right? But when you really break it down, true health is a whole lot more than just not catching a cold. It's a massive, multi-layered system. It means optimizing your immediate daily habits, it means setting yourself up for long-term longevity, and surprisingly enough in today's world, it even means managing the health of our digital outputs and how we present our ideas to the world.
But oh boy, here is the roadblock we all hit. The cooking doc captures this perfectly using a brilliant analogy: climate change. Think about it for a second. Why is it so incredibly hard to make healthy choices? Well, because the negative impacts of poor health, much like climate change, are usually way off in the distance. If you catch a hot stove, you pull your hand back instantly. But if you eat poorly or skip your workouts, the joint pain or the heart issues might literally be 30 years away. It is incredibly hard to force yourself to make changes for things that don't impact you immediately. So if we want to succeed, we have to flip the script and reframe our focus onto immediate, measurable results.
So, here is our roadmap to get us there. We'll start with the basics of being human. Then, we'll demystify diets and macros. Third, we'll cover the immediate perks of healthy eating. Fourth, the science of aging well. And finally, a fun little twist at the end, optimizing your video health.
Okay, let's just dive right in. Section 1. The basics of being human. Essentially, fueling the system.
Before we can even begin to talk about advanced longevity hacks or complex diets, we have to make sure our fundamental biological machinery is fueled up correctly. The absolute foundational steps of human optimization are surprisingly simple, yet they're constantly ignored. Step 1 is hydration. The physical therapists over at Bob and Brad strongly recommend drinking 2 huge 16-ounce glasses of water first thing in the morning. It instantly wakes up your digestive system and gets your joints lubricated. Step 2, which the BBC continuously highlights, is simply eating a balanced diet of fresh vegetables and fruits. Step 3, basic hygiene, washing your hands to stop germs from traveling on your skin. And step 4 is absolutely paramount. Prioritize 7 to 9 hours of consistent sleep. Listen, sleep isn't just you resting. It's a highly active biological process where your body is literally repairing memory and muscle tissue. You simply cannot optimize a sleep-deprived system.
Moving right along to Section 2. Demystifying diets and macros, or as I like to call it, the math of nutrition.
If you spent literally any time online, you know the diet world is completely overwhelming. We're constantly bombarded with buzzwords like superfoods and toxins, but take a look at this. It completely shatters the myth of the detox. The YouTube channel Casually Explained makes a hilarious but completely scientifically accurate point here. When you go out and buy these expensive smoothies or supplements that claim to flush toxins from your body, you are not actually performing some deep, mystical cellular cleanse. In reality, almost all of those products are just functioning as basic laxatives or diuretics. So yeah, they make you feel like you're flushing something away, but mostly, you're literally just flushing water down the drain.
And we see the exact same misunderstanding when it comes to antioxidants. People tend to think, well, if antioxidants are good for me, consuming limitless amounts of them must make me practically invincible, right? Actually, scratch that. Think of it like pouring motor oil into a car. Yes, your car absolutely needs oil to run. But if you completely overfill the engine with oil, it actually destroys the engine. Blindly consuming massive excess amounts of anything, even the healthy stuff, shows a fundamental misunderstanding of how our biological machinery actually works.
At the end of the day, weight and diet largely just come down to metabolic math. A single pound of body fat is generally accepted to be roughly 3,500 calories. That means if you want to gain 10 pounds, you have to eat about 3,500 calories above your daily maintenance level for every single one of those pounds. And all those calories? They come from just 4 macronutrients. You've got fat at 9 calories per gram, which regulates your hormones, protein at 4 calories per gram, drives muscular regeneration, carbohydrates, also 4 calories a gram, fuel your daily activity, and then there's alcohol, sitting at 7 calories per gram, which, physiologically speaking, basically just poisons you. Understanding this underlying math gives you total control over your physical system.
That brings us perfectly into Section 3, the immediate perks of healthy eating, or short-term feedback.
Remember that climate change analogy we talked about earlier?
To actually succeed, we have to stop obsessing over distant, long-term health goals and focus entirely on the short-term feedback loop, because the immediate perks are honestly incredible. First off, you actually start craving healthier foods naturally as your body adapts to them. Second, you get a noticeable, immediate boost in physical energy without that heavy, sluggish brain fog you get from processed foods. Third, and I think this is huge, you get an immediate surge in self-confidence. Seriously, just the psychological act of cooking a healthy meal for yourself at home makes you feel proud. And finally, your gut microbiome improves almost instantly, which medical professionals link directly to reducing bloating, anxiety, and even depression. These are perks you feel today, not 30 years from now.
All right, Section 4, the science of aging well, focusing on long-term maintenance. Now, as much as we love that immediate feedback, we still have to plan for the future. We have to look at the biological realities of growing older. And a massive key to aging well is combating a condition called sarcopenia. Both Bob and Brad and the researchers over at Scripps emphasize this heavily. Sarcopenia is the common, age-related loss of muscle mass. As we lose muscle over the years, digesting protein actually gets less efficient, our metabolism slows way down, and our physical vulnerability to injury just skyrockets. Maintaining your muscle mass is unequivocally one of the absolute greatest predictors of your overall health span and longevity. This leads us to something absolutely fascinating: myokines. Muscle tissue isn't just sitting there to help you lift heavy grocery bags. Active muscle tissue functions as its very own internal pharmacy. It actively releases chemical signals called myokines that supercharge your immune system, enhance your brain's cognition, and even provide anti-cancer activity. Keeping your muscles active literally protects your aging brain. How cool is that? So how do we put this all into practice for aging well? Well, resistance training doesn't just build muscle, it actively defends against bone loss and osteopenia. Then you've got vitamin D, which is actually a crucial hormone, by the way, that maintains those bones and keeps your immune system firing. Engaging in mindfulness or yoga physically stems the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which lowers your blood pressure. And finally, social connection. Stepping out of isolation and keeping up close relationships is a massively underestimated way to fight cognitive decline.
And finally, Section 5, optimizing your video health and digital legacy.
Okay, so we've tuned up the biological machine, but what about our digital one? Just as we maintain our bodily metrics, we've got to optimize the packaging of our digital legacy, especially if you're running a YouTube channel. Let's look at the visual packaging of your content. According to YouTube Help, a staggering 90% of the best performing videos on the platform rely on custom thumbnails. Think about it. Just like a healthy physical appearance signals vitality in the real world, a vibrant, customized thumbnail successfully packages your digital content. It proves to the viewer right away that your video is high quality and absolutely worth their time.
And just like different physical exercises target different bodily systems, like, say, cardio for your heart and weights for your muscles, different video titles target completely different viewer psychologies. Searchable titles clearly outline very specific topics that is perfect for an audience actively hunting for an answer to a problem. Intriguing titles, on the flip side, spark curiosity and emotion, which is the perfect way to target a much broader casual audience.
So how do we actively measure and optimize this digital health? First, you want to limit visual complexity in those thumbnails so you don't overwhelm the viewer's eye and rely on the rule of thirds for a really clear composition. Then you basically need to act like a doctor checking lab results during the first 24 hours of publication. If you want to check your channel's health with a broad general audience, keep an eye on your click-through rate, or CTR, on the home and suggested feeds. But if you want to check the health of your core fans, look at your CTR and the subscriptions feed. That data is the direct biofeedback of your digital life.
So that brings us to the ultimate question. We've seen exactly how tracking the math of your macronutrients regulates your physical weight, how building muscle literally protects your aging brain, and how monitoring your click-through rate secures your digital success. From your internal biology to your digital legacy, you've got the data and you have the power. So how will you optimize the metrics of your life today? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I seriously cannot wait to see what you build and optimize next.